If you've ever heard the word values thrown around, but you're not entirely sure what they are, how to find yours, how to use them, or maybe you've even thought to yourself, this has got to be a bunch of word vomit, the answer is no, it's not word vomit. And they're not meant to be theoretical, fluffy words that you just slap on a wall or place inside of a book. Values are actually super powerful personal transformation tools, but the problem is most people don't know how to find them, and even less people know how to powerfully use them. If this is you, don't feel bad and definitely don't miss this video. I'm going to clear all of this up and make you look like an absolute superstar the next time somebody throws around the word values in an attempt to try to make you feel morally inferior to them. I'm going to explain what values are, how to use them, how to find them in a way that nobody's talking about, and by the end of this video, you're going to see that values are a powerhouse personal development tool and also your unique blueprint and success strategy. If we don't know each other already, you're probably like, who is this lady? And I can't say I blame you. My name is Miryah Scott, and I happen to be a high-performance coach that specializes in values, and I have since 2020. I have personally used values to do a lot of different things, including win 3 world championship fitness competitions, grace global covers, become an internationally published columnist, heal my body from all of that, create an amazing marriage with my perfect husband, start businesses, and really transform the lives of other people using values. I've helped my clients do everything from experience weight loss without diets and programs, get off anxiety meds, off sleep meds, quit smoking, have new jobs, make crazy commission checks, 50% pay raises. Oh gosh, what else? Make $100,000 in their first year of business, enter motherhood with complete confidence knowing the family values she wants to instill, help my clients improve their marriages from going from a 10 out of 10 to a 25 out of 10. Her words, not mine. I've helped them heal damaged relationships with others, with themselves, with their bodies, all to walk in confidence, clarity, and take courageous action on the vision in their heart consistently. Yes, values are just that diverse and just that powerful. And I happen to specialize in helping you energize, enrich, and thrive through finding, defining, and living your values. So now that you know I'm not here to fluff up your screen time, let's get into what values really are and why you should care. We are probably just getting to know each other, so why would you take my word for it? Instead, I think a better approach would be to look at some of the really popular people in the personal development space, ones you've probably heard of, look at how they define values, and then I will break it all down to make it way more clear and way more actionable. Sound good? Cool. The 5 people we're going to look at are Tony Robbins, Dr. John Demartini, Brené Brown, Simon Sinek, and Mark Manson, all of which have spoken pretty extensively about values. Let's kick off with Tony. Tony is arguably the OG of personal development. I think he literally created life coaching. He does all different kinds of personal development. I don't need to riff. You've probably heard of him. So let's look at how he defines values. This is from one of his blogs. Values are the fundamental beliefs that govern our lives. They inspire how we act and speak. They guide our decisions about everything from career to personal growth. They embody the person we want to be, influencing how we treat others and how we interact with the world. To state it plainly, values are the core of who we are. Now that is a powerful and very good definition. Let's back that up and go even further with Dr. John Demartini. Dr. John Demartini has arguably even more experience in the values area. He wrote an entire book on it. And he's got over 50 years in the personal development and research space and basically says values are the most important of all of it. I think I've actually heard him say he doesn't do a talk unless there's values in it. Pretty big. So let's look at how he describes values. Some of the quotes that he has are, true values are as specific to you as your fingerprint. I actually love that he put that in there. We're going to get into why. They are the very essence of you, what you're drawn to, what you inevitably seek out, what you live for. They are a kind of internal compass pointing you towards the activities, people, and places that most fulfill you and away from situations and people that are likely to feel unfulfilling. Now, these are mic drops by some pretty influential people in the personal development space, so you're not taking my word for it. We're kicking off with them. Next up is Miss Brené Brown. She's the only woman on this list, but she has a special place in my heart. 1, I just love her quirky Southern personality. 2, she has inspired me so much with her work, inspiring my work on values. She's known, though, for specializing in vulnerability and shame and does a lot of work with corporations. I want to specifically highlight how she defines values in her book, Dare to Lead. She has lots of books, but but let's just look at this one. So in here, page 186 to be exact, she defines values as a value is a way of being or believing that we hold most important. Living to our values means we do more than profess our values. We practice them. We walk our talk. We are clear about what we believe and hold important. And we take care that our intentions, words, thoughts, and behaviors align with those beliefs. That is pretty powerful. Again, this is another very true definition. I want to touch on two more. We're looking at Simon Sinek and Mark Manson. Now, Simon Sinek is the author of Start With Why. This, again, was an inspiration for me to start my values work. And Mark Manson is the author of Subtle Art of Not Giving a F. Which is basically all about values. Let's look at how Simon Sinek defines them. Hey, this is me jumping into this clip as future editing me, realizing I probably could have done a better job at explaining the context behind both Simon Sinek's quotes and Mark Manson's quotes. So this is me hopping in to clear that up now to make sure that you're completely equipped. So let's do that. First, let's look at Simon Sinek's quote. And I got this from a YouTube clip. Now, the context of this is that he's talking about values in relation to corporate culture. But what he says in here completely applies to personal values. He even says it so it's directly related. And in this one, he explicitly says, values are who you are when you're at your natural best. He goes on to describe in the description that values are verbs, not nouns, meaning they're actionable. Both of these are spectacular. And this small clip packs a really great punch on what values are and how they work. And what I want to highlight here is that he's completely right. Values are actionable. They're also you. So they're not aspirational. When you're undergoing a values discovery, that means it's not a vision board session. You're not, who do I want to be? It's a self-discovery of who you actually are, as Simon says, at your natural best. That's what you're looking for, because then those values are true to you. If you're picking them like a vision board, they become aspirational and you're just imposing more shoulds onto your life. We're going to get into more about that later in the video, but I just wanted to highlight that and why I really like this clip by Simon. Anyway, let's go on to Mark Manson now. So Mark Manson has done a lot more work on values since his book, Subtle Art of Not Giving a F. And he has a blog here and another resource I'm going to mention here too. So in his own personal blog, he says that values are the measuring sticks by which we determine what is a successful and meaningful life. He says you cannot talk about self-improvement without also talking about values. Yes, that's so true. Thank you, Mark. It's not enough to simply grow and become a better person. You must define what a better person is. Yes. You must decide in which direction you wish to grow. Because if you won't, well, we might all be screwed. Probably good. But I want to also add into Mark's definition because he recently came out with a podcast called Solved, and it was all about values. Very big deep dive. I believe it's like 4 hours long. What's interesting to me is that in this podcast, Mark has changed from his definition and gone to Shalom Schwartz's definition. Now, can't say I blame him. Shalom Schwartz is like an OG of values. He basically is the creator of the basic human values theory. Let's give you Shalom Schwartz's definition of values. He says they're beliefs about trans-situational goals of varying importance that serve as guiding principles in the life of a person or group. Now, for your average person, that is a mouthful and fairly confusing. Even me, who's obsessed about values, goes, wait a minute, give me a second. It has some gems in there, though. I really want to highlight here that when he says trans-situational, I love that because what he's saying is values are across context, meaning they apply across various different areas of your life. They don't need certain context to be true, but I thought this was really valuable to go into here because they do apply to things that I say later in the video. So let's just get back to it now, shall we? I know that you're seeing that there's a basic consensus how powerful values are as if not the most important personal development tool out there. So it has me begging the question, how horrible to go our whole life and deny us of this knowing. How horrible to go through your whole life and not tap into these drivers, these motivators, these keys to fulfillment, these metrics that you can lean into to create tangible action and results, not to mention more fulfillment in the day-to-day mundane moments. Now, I also understand that the definitions that were just given, they can feel a little bit overwhelming. At least they were for me when I first started out, because these definitions are really big. I mean, it's the core of who we are. It's the essence. It guides every decision, every action. It's actionable, which has me asking the question, if it's such a big thing, then how do we place any actionable, tangible meaning to it? How do we apply it? So this is really where I want to come in and give you the depth of my understanding of this. Because what I want you to really get here is that values are not philosophical, nice to have fluffy words. They are tangible, they are actionable, they are unique to you, and they are your key to success. They're literally your unique blueprint on how you're meant to do things in the world. Knowing what values are, what your values are, and how to action them is exactly how my clients shifted all of that stuff that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. They are really, really powerful, and I am here to try to make this as crystal clear as I possibly can for you. Based on my experience over the years, I want to give an even more simplified, tangible, and actionable definition of what values are. And this is something that when I share it with people that have done the work, they're like, oh man, that makes so much sense. So let's just jump to it and share it with you. This is how I like to define them. Values are the unique way that you have been shaped through your experiences to care, connect, communicate, contribute, and co-create the life that you are called to. Yes, yes. Can you see how simplified that is? Can you see that it just flows? Can you see that there's a way to action it in that definition? What I want to highlight are 3 things in this definition that they include. So values are a reflection of 1, your identity, and we're going to get into that and how, because it's honoring your life experiences, because it's the unique way that you've been shaped. 2, they're a compass that drives action, meaning they give you motivation. They're even more than that, a driver, because they're almost like a need within you. 3, they're clarity for fulfillment, even in the smallest moments. I have had time and time again where nothing dramatic changes in my client's life, but their perspective changes. The way that they can see fulfillment and feel fulfillment and create fulfillment, even in the everyday life, that actually creates ripple effects in all the other areas of your life, is massive. Because a really cool thing happens when you tap into your values is you tap into this built-in GPS system that's based on your unique blueprint. And this unique blueprint is your unique success code. And it's very unique to you because it's found in your personal experiences. And this takes us to how to find your values. Before we dive into how to find your values, I want to first clear up something about values. Most people get them wrong because they think they're simply about being a good person. And while being a good person is a fantastic thing to do, that's more along the lines with morals, ethics, and norms. And morals, ethics, and norms are typically found and taught to us through society metrics. How are we in the culture that we live in? Whereas values are very personal. Values are personal because you literally find them through your unique experiences. And nobody has gone through the same thing as you, which is also why nobody has the same values as you. And certainly nobody defines how you live those values like you define them. So let's break that down a little bit. So you find your values by looking at your peak experiences, your contracted experiences, and your day-to-day interest. And I first stumbled on this approach years ago, and I first used it on myself when I was creating my first company. I believe it was 2 pieces of influence. There was Gary Vaynerchuk that said, if you're going to build a company, it better be you because it's going to take all of you. And then I believe it was Simon Sinek in Start With Why. I really need to look that up to confirm that. But it was along the lines of, what are you going to build it for? And what would you tear it down if it's no longer aligned? Basically, what do you stand for? And it really called me to dive into my own values. I did that work, and when I discovered them, things just started to click. Things just started to flow. I found this next level of motivation, and I determined that there was a ton of stuff that I did previously in my past that was driven by motivators at the time, but I didn't connect it all. And now that I know better, man, it makes all the difference, and I just want you to have this too. This right here, what I'm explaining to you, is exactly what I use with my clients and have since 2020. And what I can say to you is that when you find your values this way, based on your true experiences, your drivers, you can see a silver thread through all the experiences of your life that are divinely shaping you exactly the way that you are, on purpose, here, right now, molded perfectly, called to the life that you're meant to be. That is that yearning within you. Then things just start to click. Everything makes sense. And when you know your values, when you find them this way, it should feel like an exhale. It should feel like you just got home. It should feel like clarity and simplicity. And wow, how did I not see this previously? That's how peaceful and powerful values truly are. If you find your values this way, they're actually going to stick. I have met so many people that have done values work either in the workplace or at their job, or they took a course, or worse yet, they picked their values from a list. And the values never stick there because you have no connection to it. This way, if you're using your life experiences to find them, you have real, tangible proof. You have evidence that you live this way, that you are driven this way, that you are fulfilled this way. And that's what finally makes them stick. There's another reason I really like to find values this way, and that is because when we discover this pattern within us, we can honor exactly how we've been intentionally shaped through life. We can embrace it, we can accept it, and we can start to leverage it. That means we have less resistance to these experiences that we've had in the past. We can honor all of who we've been, and we can consider the way that we've been designed on purpose and finally use it to our advantage instead of resisting it. This is a unique blueprint within you. And when you know this about yourself, you can stop second guessing yourself and you can start leading and living like you mean it. I really love this approach because it really helps accept everything that we've been through. It helps us accept that we have been cared for, loved, even in the tough stuff. You are on purpose, created for purpose, and in my opinion, by the number one purpose. So take that for what you want. Let's look at the values definition one more time with all of this context. So values are the unique way that you have been shaped through your experiences to care, connect, communicate, contribute, and co-create the life that is calling for you. How I like to say, that is designed by God for you. Now let's move into some details about how values actually work. You now can bust through the lie that you should have the same values as everybody else. Why? Because you don't have the same experiences as everybody else. And even if you did have the same values, you don't have the same way how you define to live those values. That's going to be very unique. In my entire time doing values work, I've one, never met anybody that has the same set of values, and two, definitely never met anybody that defined how they lived those values the same. So now you can bust that myth. And anytime you see anything on the internet that's like, I only hang out with people with the same values, that's not actually true. How it works is you honor each other's values. You know that you have different values. You can work together because you honor each other's values. You don't have to have the same values. That might be more aligned with morals, ethics, and norms based on culture, right? We also now know that values aren't theoretical, fluffy words that you place on a wall and look at from time to time. They're actual practical and powerful decision-making and action-taking tools. And like it or not, your values are always running. They're either running in a helpful way or a hurtful way. But that's a rabbit hole for a different video. Let me know if you'd like me to make that in the comments below, and I'm happy to share what that looks like. For now, let's just look at the basics of values, because I feel like that's going to be the most valuable for you moving forward so you can combat any lies and also start maybe applying this to yourself. So first and foremost, you have 3 to 5 values tops. That's it. You don't have any more than that because otherwise things are going to get confusing. And the whole point in having values is to have a clear lens to see the world from, clear drivers, clear motivators. It's supposed to simplify and clarify your life, not confuse it. So any more than 3 to 5 is going to cause confusion. And within those 3 to 5, you're typically going to have a hierarchy of importance. I call them primary and secondary because some matter way more than others. Next, the most important thing you want to know is that this one set of values applies to each of the core 4 areas of your life. Now, why do I say the core 4? That's because some coaches can make things really confusing, or some personal development people can make things really confusing in my mind, and of all these different kinds of areas. I am very simple. 3 to 5 values, 4 areas of life. That's it. So what are the core 4? This is career and contribution, connections and relationships, your well-being, which includes your health and wellness, and finally, what I call meaningful wealth. Now, this is finances, hobbies, home, the things that is meaningful wealth to us. You get it. This simple structure is going to give you so much clarity on what you need and how to hold yourself in each of the areas of your life. For 1, internal fulfillment, for 2, external results, and for 3, meaningful success. This is going to give so much clarity on what amplifies you, what triggers you, what's important to you, and what's unimportant, what's right, what's wrong, what makes you happy, and what makes you hurt. Here's an analogy I always like to give that might land with you too. So just like our bodies need food, water, and shelter to feel full and energized to move through the world, our souls need our values. This is why when your values are full, you have energy, you have motivation, you have drive. And when they're not, you feel empty, you can't get going, and you're more likely to engage in sabotaging behaviors to fill that void. Values are our drivers, and they also give us a tremendous amount of clarity, even and especially in the tough stuff. I've seen it firsthand. Clarity on our values gives clarity on our vision and the direction that we want to go. This fuels aligned action, which is further motivated by those drivers, and that creates results. A really big key in all of this is to have language to articulate what it means to live your values. You want to have definitions of how to live your values with actionable standards of behavior that you are walking out in each of the core 4 areas of your life. What drives you in your career? How do you feel seen in your relationships? What motivates you in your health? What wealth generation is actually going to be meaningful to you? This is what matters. Because when you know your values, you can stop second guessing yourself. By now, you can see that values are very personal. And I don't know any personal development specialist who will argue the power of our personal values. The problem is, most of the big personal development people out there won't go deep into values because, honestly, they're really hard to scale for the masses. You can see just how personal it is. There are some quizzes out there that might help, but truthfully, I've yet to find any that actually get to the true core drivers. They might help highlight things that you value or experiences that you value or things that you like to have in your life, but not those deep driving, universally applicable values that you can put in each of the areas of your life. The only way I've found that really gets you there is the deep introspective work. I'm sorry, there's no cheat code on this personal development tool, but I can guarantee it's worth it. If this sparked something in you, let's go. I am Hundo P here to help you take it further. There are lots of options for us. You can like and subscribe here to get notified when I drop more vids on values. You can join me inside my private audio experience, The Vibe, where there's a mini masterclass on values and lots of other unfiltered personal voice notes, all centered around energizing, enriching, and thriving through values. You can also explore what it looks like to work with me one-on-one or with your team. Links to all of this stuff will be in the description. That is it for me on this one, my friend. If this spoke to you, please share it with someone you care about. Please help get the word out about the power of values so they can start leveraging it too. Be bold, be free, be the light, and I'll see you in the next one.